Hi, my name is Jane Jepson, and I'm the Career Service Manager for Escoffier Online. And I'm here today to talk a little bit about your externship planning. So if you're like most students that I talk to, you may have a little bit of anxiety, just a few little butterflies when you start to think about your culinary externship or your pastry and baking externship. And that's okay. You're not alone. I'm here to be of assistance to you, and I want to share with you some guidelines that I try to work with students on finding an externship site. So one of the first things that I recommend is that you determine for yourself what you want to accomplish with your externship site. Sit down and do some self-reflection. What are your short-term goals professionally? What are your long-term goals? Where do you want to be in a year? Where do you want to be in 5 years? And let the answers to those questions help drive your site selection process. You really want to approach the site selection process strategically and really come up with a strategic plan, because your externship is going to be a really important transitional bridge that gets you from what you've done in the past, what you're doing today in school, and where you want to go in the future. When I'm working with students, I recommend that in addition to your goals, you think about the logistics of an externship. An externship experience really is part of a class, and the class is the industry externship class, and it's at the very end of your program. It starts on a specific day and ends on a specific day. It's a total of 150 hours that must be worked over the course of the 6-week block. So that's a lot of hours. And again, if you're like so many of us, you've got a lot of obligations. You may have a day job. You may have a family. I'm quite sure that you have other priorities in your life that you have to handle. So I want you to think about the reality of adding what's going to be about an average of 25 weeks of work to your weekly schedule. And think about how you can plan for that. Many students, have a Michelin-ranked restaurant, for example, that they really aspire to work at and really want to plan for their externship. But if that restaurant is in, the city that is an hour and a half commute away from where you're living, it might not make the best externship site. So in addition to thinking about your goals, you also want to think about the logistics and plan for an externship site that's manageable based on your daily obligations. I also encourage students to think about this segment of the industry that they want to work. So most students, when they're thinking and planning for an externship, they immediately think restaurant, or they think little boutique bakery that's down the road. Well, those are all great choices, but there are many, the culinary industry is really quite broad, and there are many different segments in the industry. So in addition to thinking about the boutique bakery or the restaurant that's down the street, you might also want to think again about what you want to do, where you want to do it to help plan for your externship. So for example, if you really are thinking about a career in food and beverage management, or you want to be an executive chef, maybe you want to think about the hospitality industry. So within the hospitality segment, there are positions in commercial hotels for cooks and chefs, in ballroom kitchens and banquet kitchens. If you are really concerned about your lifestyle and you have children that you're managing at home, you might think about some of the more lifestyle-friendly segments. And those segments include the healthcare segment, corporate dining, the educational segment, and also even things like correctional segment. All of those industries have facilities that do food service, and those are certainly possible externship sites and places where you can build a long-term career. You also want to think about your job duties. So for example, if you know you want to be an executive chef, then you've got to find an externship site that's going to allow you to be in a kitchen and really master your basic food production skills. You're going to be wanting to work, you're going to want to work on your knife skills, on being able to produce food using standardized recipes that conform to brand standards. You're going to want to practice your speed and build velocity in the kitchen. So those are going to be really important. But maybe you're considering a small business or operating a food truck or even a career in catering. If that's the case, your job duties are going to be a little bit different, and maybe a slightly different venue is going to be appropriate. So for example, let's take catering. If you're interested in a career in catering, you might want to work in a catering kitchen where you're not only practicing your food production skills, but have the opportunity to observe banquet setup and tear down. And maybe you'll have the opportunity to observe the negotiation with a client of a banquet event order. So all of those things are going to be really important to think about and to use in your personal plan, your personal strategic plan for finding an externship site. When thinking about an externship site, I like to recommend the who, what, when, where, and how of externship planning. So the first thing I recommend students do is think about who you know. Who are your friends and family, and who works in the industry? What kind of work do they do, and is there an opportunity for you at one of their work sites? Work your own personal network. Ask yourself what you want to do, and then use that to search job boards and websites to find positions that are available. Use search terms like you could use pantry cook, garde-manger, prep cook, kitchen helper. You can even use culinary externship as a search term in a job board. You might be surprised to see how many positions are available, at least on a national basis, for culinary externships. I can't promise there's going to be one in your community, but it's certainly worth doing the research and finding out what's out there. I also recommend that you go out and visit sites. I think this is one of the most important things you can do. And again, it's part of doing your research, right? To make sure that you're picking a really good externship site and one that's going to work for you. I recommend going out to local restaurants, eateries, bakeries, clubs, corporate dining rooms, hospitals, and visiting them. Take a look at their menu. Take a look at their style of service. Take a look at their service standards. Talk to the host. Talk to the server. Ask questions about their strategies in food preparation. Are they an all-scratch kitchen? Do they practice farm to table approach to their menu development? Those are all things that you want to know before you really target a particular site for an externship. When to plan? Well, you can never start planning too soon. And I recommend that you really start planning. I don't care where you are in your student life cycle. Go ahead and start thinking about your externship now. Start doing your research. Research the industries, research your local community, and put together a plan. Where do you live? Well, where you start right in your own backyard. So I recommend that you go online and you use Google Maps or maybe MapQuest, and you search your community. Identify your community, and then you can search for nearby. And you can search for restaurants, eateries, lounges, bakeries, hospitals, churches, and a list will populate. And it actually plots on a map, so you can see how close it is or how far away it is from your own home. That's a really good place to develop a list and then systematically start visiting the sites that are the most exciting to you and the most consistent with your strategic plan. And then finally, how do you get in all those hours? Well, you don't have to have just one site. A lot of students that we work with, they actually have a secondary site, because in order to get 25 hours in, you need to make sure that you get enough work each and every week. And 25 is an average. The requirement is 150 hours over the course of the 6 weeks. So if you're a little bit unsure as to whether or not you're going to get the full hours from your externship site, you might want to plan proactively and pick a secondary site. And secondary sites, churches and community programs can be a really good, solid secondary externship. So think about contacting those for any type of food service that they do for the community. They're also convenient because usually they have hours that you might not be scheduled and that might not conflict with your day job. So a lot of times the churches will serve on Sunday morning and on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night. So if you can identify those sites and present them to us, we can get those approved, and you can count those hours towards your total of 150 hours. So you're not in this alone. I'm here to tell you that Career Services is available to assist you with this partnership. You're going to be driving the bus, but we're definitely going to be assisting you, and we're available to help. So I want to review some of the services that your Career Service Advisor can assist you with. First and foremost, we can provide recommendations on various sites to pursue. We can, if we have contacts that are local to your community, we can certainly point you in that direction and make introductions. We can help you develop your own personal externship plan and strategy. We can provide resources to you so that when you're going out into the community and you're looking at sites, you've got resources to use. We have an externship fact sheet that you can share with employers. We recommend a particular process. We can even help you with talking points. So if you're a little bit shy and you're stopping into a restaurant, we can help you with that conversation, what to say to the host or to the server, so that you can perhaps get an introduction to a restaurant manager or maybe even an owner. We can also help you with overcoming objections. And it's my experience that almost all students get some type of feedback from a potential externship site that may be an objection. Well, most of those objections can easily be overcome, and that's something that we can help you with. And Career Services will even go so far as to call employers on your behalf. So if they have any questions about the externship program or their obligations as an externship site, we'll review those with them. And if you find that you're getting yourself in a crunch and you're not having success lining up potential externship sites, contact your Career Service Advisor and we'll actually reach out and do some pre-qualification on your behalf. Not every site is what I call externship friendly. Most are, but there are some that maybe haven't even heard of that term before. So what we can do is we can call out into the community and identify a short list of employers and externship sites that are going to work for you and be open to the idea of an externship, and then we can put you in touch with those managers. We can also provide guidance and coaching. So for example, we will walk you through the entire process. You know, some students have questions about what to wear. Do I wear my chef's coat or do I wear business attire? What do I take with me? What do I leave behind? So all of those things, your Career Service Advisor can work with you on and provide guidance. So, you know, one of the most important takeaways with externship planning is that the externship is really a very important part of your culinary or pastry and baking education. It's an opportunity, again, to provide a bridge from what you've done in the past, what you've learned, and what you want to do. And so you really want to make a good decision. The whole externship experience, working in the kitchen, that should be one of the most fun things that you do in school. And I would go so far as to say that looking for the externship site should also be fun. You shouldn't feel anxious and you shouldn't feel stressed over it. So please reach out to Career Services. We want to feel the love. You can call us, you can text us, you can email us, and we're available to help. My name is Jane Jepson. I'm the Career Service Manager. You can reach out to me. My telephone number is 402-370-6363, and my email address is really easy. It's my first and last name, Jane Jepson, Jepson, at escoffier.edu. And I'm really looking forward to hearing from you and assisting you as a partner in the externship site process.